Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to my Virtual Life Interactive. Today's topic is going to be on parenting, wellness parenting, guys. Come on in. Good morning, Miss Thais. Miss
Shh. Hello, hello. How are you? How?
Fine,
Hi,
fine.
everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. That's right. Happy first day of fall. Can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can hear me because I don't
Yes,
hear
I
anything.
yes I
Oh, okay, okay.
okay. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my virtual interactive live. Today's live will be on parenting, mental health. Come on in, guys. Wherever you are, welcome, welcome. All are welcome. Remember to thumbs me up as you enter the stream. Welcome, welcome. Without further ado, I present you the speaker of the day, Miss Thais Love. Welcome, welcome, Mr. Love.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here once again. Hello to all of you all out there. I want to know who's there. Please sign in on the chat so I'll know who's here. And I, when I, there was some questions. Those of you all who might have seen the flyer, there were some questions that I put out there. I would love to hear the answers to your questions, to those questions and whatever questions you may have. So please feel free to put those in the chat now, and then we'll discuss it and yeah, interact about those things later on after the presentation. But thank you so much again for tuning in and spending this first fall Sunday with me here. Today, we're going to be talking about parenting and mental health. Um, Parenting is not easy, as those of us who are parents very well know, but you can parent successfully, and there are different things to consider, tools that you can use to do just that. Today, I want to talk to parents about mental health, the importance of them keeping their mental health even as their parent. Okay, so of all of you that are out there, how many of you are parents? And parenting doesn't only mean parenting your biological children. There are there are parents who parent children who are not biologically theirs. That you can parent a niece or a nephew. You can parent a sister, a brother. There are many. ways that you can wind up parenting. You can be a godparent, even. You can be an uncle or an aunt that had to step into the parenting role for whatever reason. And so parenting is not restricted to a person that biologically has a child, but that there are parenting roles. There are grandparents who have to step in as parents. There's a lot of that because, and with a grandparent, you already raised your kid. The kid is adult and everything, and now your kid has children, and for whatever reason, you might have to step in and parent your grandchildren. And so those are different ways that you can wind up being a parent or in the parenting role. And so, but parenting, like I said earlier, it's not easy, but we do it every single day. Number one, parenting is a lifelong commitment. That's the way I view it. I'm a parent. I'm a proud mom of 5 sons and a grandmom to 1 grandson, and then I'm a step parent to 3 daughters and a grandparent, and I'm a grandparent to their children. So I also have 3 other grandsons, and so I have a lot of years of parenting under my belt. And then I have godchildren as well. I was a sis mom to my sister, also to a lot of my cousins, things of that nature. So I had to, play that parenting role and step in that parenting role even before I had my own, started having children. I was in that role. So have a lot of years of parenting up under my belt. And I'm grateful, actually. I'm very grateful. But because of those different situations of parenting instances that I had to be involved in, I understand the stresses, the heartache, and the joys of being a parent. And I'm sure you all know that as well, those of you who have had to take on the role of a parent. So I want to start out saying that, again, parenting is not easy, but we do it every day, those of us that are parents. Okay, so now parenting can be very, very joyful. I can recall nearly 30 years ago when I had my firstborn, how amazed I was just looking at his little face. It just blew my mind. Just looking at this little person, understanding that this person has to rely on me and his father for everything that he needs just to live. And I remember how I was overjoyed, but also I was overwhelmed because I really thought about, wow, this little baby is looking at me and looking to me and his father for everything. He can't talk, he can't walk. He needs us to assist him with everything that he's doing. Wow. And there were times when my son would cry and we didn't understand what he was crying for. he would cry, suddenly it would seem, and we would sit there and be like, well, what is this cry about? So we would go through the different steps. We try to, you know, breastfeed him. That he didn't want the breast. We check his pamper. You know, it was his pamper was dry and clean. Um, we would check his temperature, see if he was too hot or whatever, and it wasn't any of those things. And I wondered, I was like, oh my gosh, what? I don't know what to do uh, for you. I remember clearly sitting down one day and my baby son was crying and I didn't know what he was crying for. I checked everything and I didn't know what he was crying for, and I just started crying. And we were both sitting there crying, and I I prayed and asked the Lord, look, show me how to deal with this wonderful child that you've given me, and I promise I'll be the best parent that I can be. And I made that promise. Uh, well, that the my oldest son, he's not here right now. He's out and everything, but it would be interesting to hear from him to see if I stuck to my promise. But I think I did. But I say all of that to say that parenting can be a very daunting task, and it can be overwhelming, especially when you're parenting for the first time. You come home with that infant, and children don't come with instructions, so you don't know what to do. Actually, at the hospital, they try to show you different things, so that you can at least start um, interacting with the baby and taking care of the baby needs. But as that baby grows older and you get to know that baby's personality and the different things that they need, you get to learn the different cries and the the different ways that that child expresses to you what they need, what they want, if they're comfortable, if they're hungry, and you learn and come to know that child's personality. And so that takes time, that takes patience, but it can be overwhelming. It can be daunting. It can be very uh, intimidating, even for some people, because you you just feel like you want to be able to give that child everything that he or she needs and give it to them right away. You want to be able to just show love and make the child happy, you know um, but at the same time you want to raise that child and prepare that child for living in these days and times. So yes, parenting can be daunting, and a lot of times uh, people get stressed. They get stressed about having to take care of a child, the 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 coming of a child, and you know while the while the mom is pregnant, you're thinking about, oh my gosh, I gotta provide, I gotta make sure that I have enough money, and all these things go through your mind even before the child gets here. And so you already are presented with these stresses um, of becoming a parent even before the child gets here. And so there are different things that you need to consider even before planning a family, as if you had the uh, opportunity to plan your family. Sometimes things happen, and all of a sudden you discover that you are about to become a parent, and so there's uh, you prepare for that differently than you would if you planned on being a parent. So, but yes, it still is all very daunting, but such a wonderful experience. I'm being a grandparent even more because you get to spend time with the children and then you can give them back. I love that part. But yeah, I'm just kidding. But I love all the aspects of being a parent. Um, and even when it's daunting, overwhelming times, and like I said, to make parenting and the stress of parenting a lot lighter and easier. Like I said, I'm a mom of five. And so, and each child is different, is unique. They have their own set of uh, character traits and things that come with them. So it's parenting is not a one size fit all kind of thing. Uh, as you will see in just a few minutes.
Miss Love? It seems like Miss Love is having technical difficulties, guys. She'll be back in a moment. As she was saying about parenting.
Hello.
Yes.
I don't know what happened, but I'm back.
Yeah.
uh, I guess we had to take an impromptu break all of a sudden. But um, I was talking about the how daunting it can be, but joyful at the same time of becoming a parent, and that um, you can, you know, do this parenting thing and come out with a lot of joy. I love parenting. I love it. That's one of my first callings, I think, um, and I really enjoy it. But yeah, there are different things that you can do, um, and different things to consider that would help you alleviate some of the stresses of being a parent. Now, I put out a question to you. Do you find yourself being stressed as a parent? If so, what are your stresses? What are your stresses? You can place that right there in the chat there. What are your stresses? Um, if you find parenting very stressful, yes or no, and what are your stresses? Okay. Um, me, yeah, I found there were times that uh, parenting was very stressful. Uh, and then there were times when it was a piece of cake. so like I stated earlier, I'm the mom of 5. So when I had the first child, I, I was very stressed because I was more concerned with doing things right, and correctly, and I was looking for a parenting book. In fact, I did buy a parenting book, thinking that that was going to help me and all of that. Um, it helped me some. It helped me some. Uh, but there were a lot of things that I just had to experience that also taught me um, lessons about being a parent, and dealing with the stresses of parenting. But yeah, what are some of the stresses that you find you've encountered being a parent? Just put that in the chat there. Put that in the chat. Um, I know that uh, I um, I had my first child. I was 23 years old. I had just, in fact, I had gotten pregnant. Was pregnant in my senior year of college, actually, and it was my plan because me and my children's father, we planned our family, and it was my plan to graduate college, then have children. But we almost got there, but I wound up conceiving in my senior year of college, and so I was, finishing off college, and when I graduated, um, I was I was 6 months, 7 months pregnant when I graduated, and so under my cap and gown was that bun in the oven. So I actually walked, marched for my graduation with my oldest son, um, in on the inside. So he went to college before he, actually was born, and we joke about that. But anyway, but yeah, the first child, I was stressed simply because I wanted to just make sure I did it right. I felt that because I was raised by my grandparents. My mom, she passed away when I was really young. I was 7 years old, and my sister was 5 when my mom passed away, and my mom was 24 years old. Okay, and so we wound up getting raised by my dad's parents. My dad, he was a widow at such a young age. He was something like 20, and he had these 2 girls, and talk about overwhelmed. He just decided, you know what, I'm going to have my parents help me raise these 2 girls. And that's what he did. He literally brought us over to his parents and was like, here, I'll deal with this. I gotta grieve and get on with my life. And dad's side so graciously accepted the task. And they were like in their 50s, in their late 40s, early 50s when they stepped into that parenting role for my sister and I. And I always felt that they did a really good job. I always felt that I have to say that my grandparents, I believe, prepared me well for life. Showed me a lot of things so that I was able to do a lot of things as a young adult that some people were doing in their middle age. You know, that was because of the wisdom of my grandparents, I believe. But yeah, so being stressed as a parent, a new parent, I wanted to make sure that I had a handle on it and that I, did it right, you know, and I wanted to be a good parent. And I just felt that I may not have been. I didn't know. I always, went to school and got training for things that I've done and things that I do. Even coming on here, I, spend a lot of time in just preparing myself so that, I can have an informative discussion with you all and everything. And so, but when, I had my first son, I didn't, there was no parenting school. Uh, the child didn't come with instructions. And so I was really stressed about that. But I had my grandparents. Uh, there with there, like I said, there are things that you can do alleviate. Miss Griffith, did anyone put in what stresses they face being a parent today in the chat?
No, there's nothing in the chat yet. There's nothing in the chat yet, Miss Love. Nothing in the chat yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I can list some of the stresses that I came across of being a parent. One of the major stresses that I discovered was financial stress. Most parents that, you know, most new parents, that's one of the first things that they consider and deal with when preparing to have a child or when they discover that they are with child is finances. They want to make sure that they are financially able to provide for the children or the child that's coming into their lives. They don't want to have to struggle financially or struggle as much financially when raising a child. Another stress that parents go through is being able to have time to raise the child. A lot of parents, they're working these days, if even in two-parent households, both parents are working or trying to earn a living just to meet those financial stresses of raising a child, one child. Children can be very expensive, okay? And so, yeah, just setting aside time and balancing their time between working and raising a family, working and home life, having a social life, and things of that nature, balancing time so that you would have quality time with your child or children. That's a major stress. Just trying to figure that out. A lot of single parents, they have to consider that when choosing a job or profession. They want to make sure that, okay, I need to work so that I can provide financially for the child, but I also want to actually be there and have quality time with the child. So, sometimes, especially with new parents, young parents, they have to consider that when choosing a career path. I know now a lot of people are working from home, so that works out really, really well and eases some of that particular stress, the stress about timing, um, for for parents. They get being that they have the advantage of working from home, they also can schedule in more quality time with their children, and so parents are really happy about that. But again, that whole time juggling thing, that's a major, major stress. Major stress. And then there are other stresses that parents deal with. Parents deal with the stress of the whatever relationship that they're in with regards to the other parent. A lot of parents, they're single parents, meaning that they're the only parent that is involved in the raising of the child, or they are the primary parent involved in the raising of the child. Like, I mean, every child has two parents, but in terms of raising and rearing the child, sometimes one parent is involved more so in doing that than the other parent. Okay, so, but that parenting or co-parenting relationship is very, very key. It's very, very key. And it is also the source of a lot of parenting stress. So if two people come together and decide that they're going to be parents with the child, parents to a child, those two people have to agree on a lot of things. They may not parent the same way exactly, but they have to at least agree. So that parenting relationship it has to be there has to be one if you're going to co-parent. There needs to be a co-parenting relationship there. Certain things you have to both parents, or as many parents as you're going to the child is going to have. Sometimes there are step parents involved, so then the child may wind up with three parents or even four. So, but however many parents that are involved with that child or those children, there has to be an agreement, a relationship there where everyone can parent that child in a harmonious way, because that's what's best for the child. But a lot of times that's not the case. And so there is stress stemming from the parental relationship. The two parents, or however many parents, the relationship between the mother and father, or between the people who agree to be the primary caregivers of that child. Sometimes there's stress, a lot of times there's stress in that relationship. And so that adds on to the relationship that the parent or parents have each with the child. And so there's stress stemming from the parenting relationship and the relationships that's around you. Yeah, there's stress from the family even. Because once a child is brought into a family, everyone has a role that they agree to play with regards to that child. So the whole family changes, the family dynamic changes, and sometimes people are placed in positions or in roles that they don't agree with, or they are having trouble with, and so the changing in the roles and throughout the family can cause stress. I know upon the birth of my grandson, my sons, they went from having a brother relationship only with their siblings to becoming uncles, in addition to being big brother, little brother, to my son that had the child. My son that had the child, Josiah, he's now a father, and he's my second oldest son. And so the dynamics between him and my oldest son, that changed a little bit, because here it is, my oldest son, he was always the big brother. He's the one that, everyone would go to because he had the most experience in life because he's older. And so everyone would go, all the other siblings would go to him. But when my second son became a father, he couldn't go to his older brother for advice regards to that. But he, still goes to him for different things. But now that my second son is a dad, when my oldest son or any of my other sons, become fathers, they're going to go to my second son, Josiah, because he then will have the most experience in terms of child rearing, because he's the first one to have a child. So I say all of that to just say that the relationship in the family, the roles, they all change. And sometimes that change in family roles can be stressful as well. And so we have financial stresses, we have stresses about time management and balancing. We have stresses around the parenting and co-parenting relationship. And we also have stresses stemming from family roles, the changing in family roles. So those are just some of the stresses that parents go through, and that can, really be daunting. And that's not even talking about the stress of just becoming a parent and being a parent. You want to make sure that you provide and give your child the best that you can give them. You want to make sure that the child is healthy and has everything that they need: food, clothing, shelter, education, all those things. You want to make sure that you have enough of that so that their child will have everything that they need, all their needs be supplied. And so parents, they worry about that, especially if they feel that, oh, I have a lot of love, but I don't have a lot of money. I have a lot of time, but I don't have a lot of energy. So we as parents, we go through those different things that stress us. So what are how do you deal with that? How do you deal with those different stresses? What do you do? Being a parent, like I said earlier, it's a 24-hour job. You're always on call, whether the child is sleeping or not, whether you're sleeping or not, you're still on call. And even that, just being available to the child 24/7 like that is stressful in and of itself. So how do you deal with the different stresses that parents go through? How do you deal with that? There's some things that you can do. There's some things that you can do in terms of being a parent. If you can, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. Um, there's a saying: an ounce of prevention beats a pound of cure. And what that simply means is that if you prepare yourself, uh, then you can anticipate different things that can go on or go wrong, uh, and you'll be ready to deal with those situations and those issues, and you'll deal with it calmer, less stress, and you will be even more successful as you deal with those different situations if you prepare yourself. Now, like I said, some families are planned. A lot of them are not. So even if you became a parent and it wasn't necessarily planned like that, you can still prepare yourself, educate yourself, empower yourself so that you can be better as a person and even as a parent. So uh, I would suggest some of the things that I did was I asked questions. I went to my grandparents who were very experienced, okay? I went to them and I asked them questions and asked them for advice and, how would they handle the situation as different things arose. I talked to some of the mothers in my, the mothers in my life. There's the church mothers and my godmothers and people like that who they are they're no longer parenting directly, but they still have that wisdom of different things that you can do. And so that helped me out a lot. And then I spoke to other mothers and fathers, that had kids that were older than mine, so that I kind of got an idea of what to expect. I bought a parenting book. I did. I bought a parenting book, and it helped with certain things, but it didn't help with a lot of things. I prayed, and I think that was the most helpful in terms of relieving stress from parenting and that whole thing of not knowing what to do. Scripture says that the Holy Spirit will guide you into all truth. And so understanding that when I was, a new mom, I prayed. I prayed often. I prayed often because I figured that, well, God sees and knows everything. I don't. And God brought this infant to me into my life You know, I believe that all children are here for a reason. And so I'm like, well, Lord, you brought this child here. I need you to show me how to deal with it, or how to raise it. And I mean, God was so faithful in that He literally did show me different things, gave me instructions, made me pay attention to the little personality changes. And as that personality grew and grew older, God still gives me instruction in terms of how to deal with my now adult children and even my grandchildren. And so I'm grateful. So, yeah, I prayed, and I still pray. And then, you learn a lot about yourself as you raise your children, as you take time out to get to know who they are. You'll see yourself in your children. You see yourself. You even see um, the influence of the other parent in them as well. But don't get stuck there. Don't just stay there, and you see yourself and the things that the child may have similar to you, and so you want to treat them or care for them the way you think you should be handled. Don't forget that child, even though they may have some aspects of your personality, some aspects of the other parent's personality and influences, that child still has its very own personality. And so you have to get to know that and understand how to interact and relate to that. And so that's very, very important. So, but there are things, like I said, that you can do. One of the things is preparing yourself as much as you can and as soon as you can. Once a woman finds out that she's with child, um, upon deciding whether or not she's going to keep that child, because sometimes women make choices and what have you. But once you decided, okay, I'm gonna be a mom, there are things that you need to do from that moment that will help you even after the child is born. Certain decisions that you have to make. I know with me, once I found out that I was pregnant, eating was very important to me. I was, even before I got pregnant, there were certain decisions in terms of diet that I had made for myself, so that when I give birth and all of that, I wanted to be as healthy as I could be, as strong as I can be, as I'm carrying the child, as well as after the child is born. So long before I even had a child, had my first child, I decided that I wasn't going to eat any red meat. I didn't want to eat high blood pressure and heart disease uh, in my family. And so I wanted to make sure that, my heart and my heart was in great shape, and that my child wouldn't have to contend with heart disease, early in life. And so I decided, I think it was something like maybe 4 years before I even got pregnant, I had to stop eating red meat. Um, and so I didn't have any red meat. I still don't eat red meat. All these years later, I still do not eat red meat. And even my children's father, he agreed right along with me. And so we didn't eat any red meat. We only ate chicken, fish, and turkey. Those were the only meats that we would partake in. Uh, I still do that now. And so as I was carrying my children, I didn't have any red meat. Even after I gave birth, there was no red meat in the house. So my children, um, as they grew up, they didn't have red meat. It wasn't until maybe in their teens that, at school, they wanted to try some beef just to see what it tastes like. Or they wanted to try and eat some a piece of pork, some ham, or some bacon, just to see what it tastes like. They were, and so they would try it, and some eat some red meat. Others of my children do not. Still, but they've all sampled it, you know, um, and they're all sampled it, at an age where they can decide, do I want to eat this or not? But all the while, growing up from infancy, even before, from in the womb, they did not have red meat. So that was a decision that I had made, that even before my children were born, that helped helped me and helped the children, um, so that they could be born happy and healthy, and less stress about life. So yeah, um, that was so being prepared is or getting prepared as best you can for parenting is a great way to relieve parental stress. Um, so preparing, when I say getting prepared, I mean prepare your your, your mind, your body, your your spirit even. When whenever I was pregnant, uh, I made it a practice to make sure that I laughed several times a day. I made it a practice, to laugh. Find something to laugh, and I'm not sure how true it is, but um, my grandmother, she uh, had a lot of she had a lot of information with regards to the old wives' tales. But my grandmother, she instructed me to be happy. You are carrying life, and even though it is not going to be comfortable all the time, be happy and be grateful about the opportunity to carry life, because there are people who are unable to do that. So be happy and be grateful. And so making sure that I adhered to that piece of advice, I made sure that I laughed about something every single day throughout her pregnancy. Um, and that helped. That helped out a lot. As there were days when, you know, as the pregnancy went on and my belly got big, I didn't think I was as attractive, or I thought, because when I was pregnant, my children, I gave birth to very large children, and I was really, really slim, even as a pregnant woman. And so the biggest thing on me was my belly. I mean, it would be out to here. And people would look at me, I would say strangely. They would look at me because if you stood behind me, you couldn't tell that I was pregnant. But then when you came around to the front of me, I looked like the ever ready bunny with the drum. Except I didn't have a drum. I actually had a belly. And so, and so people would look at me. They would come around to the front of me and look at me and like almost be surprised by like, wow, how is she able to walk upright with that belly? And I carried my sons. I carried all of them very low. So especially towards the end of the pregnancy, my stomach would literally, like, when I sat down, I could rest my belly on my thigh, and when I went to get up, I would, kind of cup my underbelly, with my arm and lift up before I tried to stand up so that, I wouldn't topple over forward, but yeah, so um, I thought that I might have not have looked as normal as other pregnant women, and so um, they, I felt people looked at me strange because of the way that I carried, my children, and then after a while, once I had, a couple of them, the people would look at me strange when they saw 1, 2, 3 kids already out. And then I'm pregnant again with the fourth one. So sometimes people would look at me with that condescending eye, like, do you have cable? Like, what else can you do? I mean, every time I see you, you're always pregnant. And, for a good while, I was pregnant every 3, 4 years. My sons are 3 and 4 years apart. Um, so like my first two, my first 3 are 4 years apart. No, my first 2 are 4 years apart, and then my last 3 are 3 years apart. So yeah, I was pregnant often, and but people would look at me, and look at me strangely, and so that used to make me not feel so great about myself, or I would get subconscious about it, and that would stress me, just the way I looked. So, but after having, 1, maybe 2 kids, then I got to the point by the 3rd kid, I didn't even care how they looked at me. I'm like, look, I'm pregnant. This is the way I'm pregnant. Deal with it. I still feel beautiful, and I learned that it's no that's how people look when they are pregnant with child. They do have big bellies, and things swell up, and my second son, my nose just went all the way across my face. And I was like, oh my goodness, why is that happening? But it went back down once I had him and everything. But yeah, so preparing yourself, taking care of yourself, literally being mindful of your health. That is a tremendous thing that you can do to help you parent more successfully. So, and when I say take care of yourself, take care of your health, um, as a pregnant mom, I kept myself in shape. I made sure I ate right. I made sure I got good sleep. I made sure that I even exercised. With that big belly, yes. One of my favorite exercises that I would do um, pregnant. And I did it all the way up until 9 months, was swimming. I love to go to a swimming pool with the belly all the way out to here. And people would look at me and watch me get in the pool and go, what is she going to do? And I would get in the pool and swim. And especially when I'm pregnant, but my favorite swim stroke is the backstroke. So I would get in the pool and do that backstroke, belly up to here. And all you see with this big belly floating on top of the water and my arms going back doing backstroke. And, you know, people, they thought it was hilarious, but it was great exercise for me. Swimming is a total body exercise. So, yeah, take care of your health. Try to get yourself as healthy as possible. Get in shape, because even after the children are born and as you raise them, children have a lot of energy. All children have a lot of energy, and you want to be able to uh, play with them and not be ready to pass out, not be sick, and not have physical restrictions when it's playtime. Because children don't understand, mommy's back hurt. Oh, mommy's got a headache. They don't understand when it's playtime. That's just it. It's playtime, and they want to play with you. So, I would encourage you to take care of your health and get in shape. Try to do that, before having children, or as soon as you can. But even after you had children, even as you're raising them, the better physical shape you're in, the more physical things you can do with children. I still uh, play with my adult kids. We play differently, so we do things like we'll go hiking, or we go on vacation, or we'll go. Um, um, my husband still plays basketball with my sons. Um, it's and they get a good game in every now and then. We go roller skating. We do different things where we're still very, very active, and we like doing it with our children. Just because they're adult doesn't mean that they don't still want to play. So we do those things, and we can still do them because we take time out to stay in shape. Now, with my 18-month-old grandson, he's just learning how to run. Okay, so now his favorite thing is he likes to play tag. He will come up to you and tap you and then take off running, and he expects you to run behind him. And so that's what we do. And so we run up and down the hallways of the house, and he gets great joy out of it. He's tickled pink about it. It's fun for me, but it wouldn't be as fun, I think, if I had knee problems, or if I had a back issue. It wouldn't be as fun. I remember when my sons were little, we used to play London Bridges Are Falling Down. And it's a little game, and you you get in a circle and you hold hands, and well, yeah, and you hold hands, and the children would, we all would go around in a circle, London, with our clasped hands held up. And we would say, London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down, London Bridge is falling down. My Fair Lady, and then we would, if someone was in the middle of the circle, we sing the part, take the keys and lock her up, lock her up, lock her up, and um, we would, you know, with clasped hands, just kind of knock the person that's in the middle of the circle around a little bit, But um, we would also, there's a part where it says, and we all fall down. And one of my sons, I believe it was my second son, Josiah, he didn't want to do the whole song, London Bridge is Falling Down. He only liked the part, and they all fall down. And when they all fall down, you have to get all the way down on the ground. So you have to, well, in my case, I had to squat. Well, he had to squat too, but he was little, so it was closer to the ground than I was. But that's the only part of the song he liked. So he would go, Mommy, let's play All Fall Down. So we would have to just go to the part where we are, our hands are up and then we all fall down. So we have to squat, get down low. Then we do it again, all fall down. And he loved doing that for like hours. And I'm like, kid, can we do the other part of the song, or something, that would be killing me. But it got my knees in shape, my back, because I would literally just be doing squats with him, all fall down, and he would just love it, So, yeah, get into shape, and so that you can physically, be with your children as they run around and all of that kind of thing. So, yeah, get prepared, educate yourself, and, learn some things, as much information as you can to prepare yourself, get into shape, get your health together, get into good physical shape. Also, get your sleep. Get your sleep. As a parent, there's a whole lot of things that can go wrong simply because as a parent you're sleep deprived. When my children were infants, I had to get used to those sleepless nights when my children, they had to get breastfed like every 2 hours, every 3 hours. So I didn't get a lot of sleep that first year of life. And then my sons, they used to sleep during the day instead of at night. And so that first year of life was for me was rough as a parent because I didn't get a lot of sleep. But what I would do, what I learned to do as I had more children was sleep when they sleep. So if my children were up at night, but they slept during the day, I slept during the day so that I had just as much energy as they did when it came down to the night. As they got older, I made sure that they had a sensible bedtime and I regulated it. So every night they're in bed 8 o'clock so that they would already know. Okay, they couldn't tell time, but they knew, okay, it must be close to bedtime. I see that mom and dad are, turning lights out and turning TVs off. So let me get the message and get ready for bed. That kind of thing. Sleep is very, very important. When you lack sleep, you can't think straight. You have a very hard time in concentrating and focusing. You can't. It's difficult to even watch the children because, like, especially when children are very young, they're very, very quick. They're impulsive. So you have to be able to move within a few seconds, if that, you know. With my 18-month-old grandson, Now that he's running up and down, uh, sometimes he wants to run where, it's not safe for him to run. So we have to literally, grab him, and catch him, keep him from running. If he's near the top of the steps, he doesn't understand that you can't run, or he's not able to run down the steps. So he has to stop running before he gets to the steps. Otherwise, he can hurt himself and fall down the stairs. So, but we as parents, we have to be ready to grab him, and catch him before he goes running towards the stairs. We close the doors to the hallways and things that places that have steps, so that he can't just go and try to run where there's stairs, so he won't hurt himself. So yeah, being in having a great night's sleep, or having ample sleep, your reflexes are, they're right there, so you can, reach out and grab the kid, and not even have to think about it, or you can move very, very quickly because you are alert and you're aware. So having ample sleep will help you with that. Help your reflexes be, on point. They help your eyesight. When you don't have a lot of sleep, you don't have enough sleep, it affects your eyesight. So you won't even be able to see the child as it's running up and down, or watch the child as the child walks near a electronic socket, and tries to stick something in there, or even see the child when the child picks up something off the ground and gets ready to put it in their mouth, So it's important to get ample sleep so that you can function totally, not, groggy or slow. Also, having enough sleep helps you have enough energy to actually interact with children, even youth. You're not as sluggish and everything when you have enough sleep. You have the energy to go run around and go jogging, or go climb a tree, or whatever it is that you like to do with your children. So yes, it's important to get enough sleep. I said, well, I might have said it, but just in case, I'll say it again. Eat right. There's a saying, you are what you eat. It's something that is very, very true. If you put into your body nothing but junk, then your body will function like it's running on junk. But if you put in your body things that are nutritious, then your body will function like it is fully nurtured and it's running on nutrition, better nutrition. So it's important to eat right. When you eat right, you get your sleep. Sleeping, another thing about sleeping is it boosts your immune system. So when you get with a strong immune system, you're less likely to catch cold and catch viruses and things of that nature. So you definitely need to get your sleep in and eat right. Eating right helps you, helps your overall health, your mental health, as well as your physical health. even your spiritual health. Um, you're not eating a balanced meal, yeah, you're gonna lack energy. You're gonna be irritable, simply because you're hungry. If you didn't get enough sleep, you're going to be irritable. You're going to be, in a bad mood, simply because you didn't get enough sleep. Uh, Drink water, stay hydrated. Um, these are all things that you need to do as a parent to help you parent better. Okay, and so, and then balance. Time management is key. Time management. As a parent, yes, you want to spend as much quality time with your children as possible, but it is very, very important to take time out for yourself. Self-care as a parent is very, very key, because if you don't take care of yourself, then you're not going to be able to take care of the children or anyone else for that matter. So it's very important that as you balance your time between work and your family and your social life, that you carve out time for yourself. You need time to yourself. You need that time where it's just all about you. Time where you can rest. Time where you can just relax your mind. You need that self-care time, that me time, in order for you to be a better parent. And so those are the things that you can do to reduce your parental stress and be a better, stronger parent. And parenting is an ongoing thing. Remember, even as a parent, no one is perfect. No one is perfect. And you're going to make mistakes. You're gonna have mishaps. That's just part of life with anything. And understanding that, you can give yourself a break. Be kind to yourself, forgive yourself. If you made a mistake, oops. I was tired and I was holding the baby and I almost dropped the baby. Okay, you didn't drop the baby. Or maybe you did, but the baby was okay. These things happen more than you think. Okay, just people don't readily, just jump up and say, oh, I dropped the baby 2 times today. They don't say it, but it happens. Parents are human. We make mistakes. But even when you make a mistake with your child, it's important that you acknowledge the mistake, admit the mistake, even to your child. Maybe not at the moment, but maybe later on down the line, or when the child is older, you can talk about that. And learn from your mistake and correct the mistake and keep going. Keep going. Because no one is perfect. But you can, just being able to admit your mistakes, your errors, and talking with your children, that does a lot for your children, because they get to see, okay, even though I think mom and dad are the greatest, I think they are the superhuman, I can see that they're not superhuman, that they make mistakes, and they were children too, and they did things just like I did or I'm doing, and they made mistakes, and now they can share with me what they learned from those mistakes. And so, don't be afraid to, admit to your children your mistakes and what you learned from those mistakes. You can share that with your children so that they don't have to make the same mistakes you made. You know, so uh, 2020 vision. Hindsight is always 2020 vision. Because you're looking back at it. So those are that's what I have for you today so far. Are there any questions or comments? Are there any questions or comments?
I have a question for you, Miss Love.
Yes.
What are the things you like from how your grandparents raised your kid? Because you said your mother passed away at an early age. Did your grandparents get to raise your kids, help you raise your kids?
Yes. My grandparents, they didn't help me with they didn't have to raise them or anything like that, but they were there to give me advice until they passed away. My grandfather, he passed away before I had my first child, but my grandmother on my dad's side, she was there throughout all 5 of my children. And so she was there to give me advice and things of that nature. I was a very hands-on parent. And so I didn't, my children, they went to babysitters and everything like that coming up. But because I felt that my grandparents, they did a lot in terms of raising me and my sister, I did not want them to have to babysit their great grands now, So I wouldn't, tax them with that. But I did, I'll call them up in a minute, Grandma, the baby has a spot, on his forehead, and I don't know where it came from. What to do? I remember what my oldest son, he used to get teething fevers. He would, every time he was, he was growing a new tooth, he would get these fevers, and the fevers, I kid you not, were 102 and better. He could be playing, and his temperature is fine, and then all of a sudden he's still playing, and but I'll notice that he's slowing down, so I'll check him and feel his forehead, and his head would be hot. And then when I'll get the thermometer and check his temperature, it was at least 102. And I'm like, oh my God. And because he would get the fever so often, I wanted to know, well, what can I do to stop him from having the fever or break the fever quickly, because I was afraid he might go into seizure or something like that. And my grandmother, she told me, oh, it's a teething fever. And I'm like, teething fever, what is that? And she was like, some kids, when they tease, they have fevers, high temperatures. And so whenever he had gotten the fever like that, I would take him to the doctor. They checked. It was like, nothing is wrong with him. It's just he has the fever. And what they would do is they would, administer the children's Tylenol, to break the fever every 6 hours. But my son, because his fever was so high, we wanted to, get that fever down really, really quickly. So when I would take him to the doctor, to the hospital, they would literally take his clothes off or strip him down and lay him in a tub of ice. Literally, just put the child in a tub of ice. And my son would scream and he would holler because it's so cold, and we would put cold wet towels on him, and I would have to hold him down because he don't want that cold on him like that and everything. And it was just really, really uh traumatic, to say the least. And so I asked my grandmother, what can I do to, because he's getting these fevers so often, and I don't want to just keep putting him in a tub of hot water, a tub of ice, you know, every time, and everything like that, because I just felt that was so drastic, you know. So what can I do? My grandmother, um, she told me, I don't, I don't know. Well, I'm gonna tell you what she told me. She said, "Well, the next time he gets a fever, get an onion. Get an onion. It could be a small onion, or it could be a medium-sized onion. Get the onion, cut it in half, and put each half under the child's armpits and hold it there." And I'm like, an onion? Put an onion on my child? Like, what is that? I thought it was an old wives' tale. I'm telling you, but when I did it, sure enough, that that fever went like that. And I called my grandmother back and say, "Well, why did that work? What happened to the fever?" And I didn't have to put him on ice. I didn't even have to give him the children's Tylenol when I did that. Um, And she said, well, the onion draws the fever out of the child. That's how she explained it. I did notice that the onion, like swelled up, a different way after, the fever was gone. And I took the onion out from under the child's armpits. But that sounded so foreign and strange to me, but it actually works. And yes, it works with onion. It also works with garlic as well. There's something about the onion or the garlic that literally does pull out um, toxins and contaminants from your body, and it even reduces fever. I mean, I didn't know that my grandmother was a scientist like that. I don't think she knew either, but that was something, that she did with her children when they were little. And, that was my great grandmother. She was uh, I can't even think of the name of it now. She used to help women when they were giving birth. Uh,
Midwife.
Midwife, yes, thank you. I couldn't think of that word. She was my great grandmother. My grandmother's mom was a midwife, and she also uh, did a lot of herb work and stuff like that. And she even told my grandmother. So my grandmother, she would know of these different home remedies that you can use that work just as good as medicine that you got from the pharmacy or you went to the doctor to get. So when she told me about the onion, I was like, really, Mom? Really? You want me to put half of an onion up under my child's armpit? Why the armpit? Like, what is that about? But I did it, and it worked. And it still works. because I told my son to do that when my grandson was born, and he was going through teething, and they didn't want to keep giving him the children's Tylenol and everything. And so I said, get an onion, cut it. That'll work. It'll draw it right out, and it does. So, yeah, my grandparents, they did help me as I raised my children, but they gave advice, sound advice, and helped me out so much. Um, when I breastfed all of my children, it was my grandmother that she told me about, what you need to do to breastfeed successfully and all of that, because when she was raising my dad and his siblings and all of that, they didn't have formula like that. They breastfed, you know. Then, as the years, went along, formula was developed and stuff like that, and you can give it to babies, but the mothers breastfed, and that worked. So I hope I answered your question. Are there any
Yes.
more questions?
Yes. And what are your values as a parent? What are your values as a parent?
Oh, what are my values as a parent? That's a nice question. As a parent, I believe that number one, parents are our children's first teachers. Even before they go to school, parents are our children's first teachers. Children, not only do they try to listen to what you say, but even more than listening to what you say, they watch what you do. So that's why it's important as a parent that your actions line up with your words and be consistent. So one of the values is that as a parent, understand that you are your child's first teacher, and that you should be an example of whatever it is that you are trying to help your child to understand. So I believe that parents should walk it like they talk it. Okay. So, you know, and I also believe that parents should continue to um, learn from, life and life's mistakes and triumphs. I believe that parents should impart wisdom. They should continue to teach their children even after they are become 18. I think that parenting is a lifelong journey and task, and that you should continue to parent. A lot of parents, once the child gets 18 or 21, they say, okay, you're on your own, figure it out. I believe that, you still should be there even after they're 21, because you still need, you're still a parent, but you just parent in a different way. Your children need you in a different way. They may not need that hands-on, kind of parenting, but they need that advice. They need that example. They need that support. So, yeah, those are a couple of my morals as a parent. You should live by example, walk it like you talk it. You should, that parenting is a lifelong journey, and that you should still parent your kids or support your kids even into their adult years. And lastly, I think parents should be the ones that teach your kids morals. I don't think you should leave that to the school or to the TV or to the internet. I think that parents should instill morals in their children, and parents understand that they are building characters. Okay, that parents are character builders, and that take that role very, very seriously. So those are just some of the things that I believe about parenting.
Thank you, Miss Love.
Did I answer your question?
No more questions from me. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and end the live because there are only 3 people here.
Okay.
So I want to thank you very much, Miss
Thank
Love, and thank
you.
you for answering
You 3.
and presenting. And I want to thank everyone that's in the live. Happy Sunday to everyone, and I hope everyone enjoy the balance of their day and have a blessed week ahead. Enjoy the balance of your day, Miss Love. A blessed week ahead. Tomorrow,
Yes, same to you.
it's tomorrow. There'll be another session at 10 o'clock, a virtual interaction
Yes.
session. So don't forget to
Yes.
like, comment, share, and subscribe to CC's channel. And share the video out. And come with your ideas and your questions.
That's
Thanks everyone
right.
for watching. Thank you, Miss
Thank
Love.
you all.
And have a great day. Bye-bye,
Yes.
everyone.
Thank you all for coming out. I'll be here again, as Miss Griffith said. I'll be here again upon tomorrow, 10 o'clock, right here. We'll be talking about the parental relationship. How do you relate to your children as a parent, and how do your children relate to you? So be here tomorrow, 10 a.m. And thank you so much again for spending your Sunday with me. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Griffith, again for this wonderful platform of Aunt Cece's Kitchen. If you have information that you'd like to share, or a gift or talent that you'd like to share, feel free to contact Ms. Griffith, so that you can come on the show and share with us. Aunt Cece's Kitchen is a wonderful, wonderful platform. I've learned so much just from tuning in every week, and even being on the channel, and I learned so much from you all out there. That's why it's important that you continue to put your thoughts and questions in the chat, because we learn from each other. And so I just want to thank Ms. Griffith for providing this wonderful platform and making it accessible to all of us, even you. So if you'd like to come on and sharing some information, or what have you, feel free to contact Ms. Griffith. She can tell you where to contact her at and everything. As for me, you can reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, Dunamis Sound Mind Services. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I'm sorry. I also have a website, DunamisSoundMind.com, and or you can call me, 718-576-8110. I would love to be of service, of help to you. I am a mental health and wellness coach, along with being a chaplain and an energy medicine practitioner. So if you have need of any of those services, feel free to reach out to me.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Happy Sunday and enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh,
Take care.
okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great day.